Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Music Interview. I'm so excited to share my very special guest and my friend Nóra in this interview today. So Nóra teaches piano and music theory online for students from different corners of the world, and they all learn about the language of music that connects countries and continents. And I can't wait to explore this more with you. My name is Glory St. Germain from Ultimate Music Theory, and today we're going to talk about your journey as a musician. So Nóra, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you got started?
Hello, Glory. Thank you for having this interview with me. And my name is Nóra Tóth-Fekete, and I'm from Hungary. Tóth-Fekete is a very typical Hungarian name. And I was born in a village in Hungary, in a lovely little village in the middle of the country. And my mother told me actually this story when I was in the kindergarten. I got bored. And she asked me, do you want to do something like play the piano? That was an opportunity there. And I told her, yes, yeah, I just want to do something. So that's how I started playing the piano. And I just stick to it because it's just wonderful. It's opening doors. And at this time, I didn't know what kind of doors it will open for me. And after that, in Hungary, you have a very nice system for music education. You do the music school, after that a special high school dedicated to music, and after that the university. And after the university, I thought it's beautiful to teach at a music school, but I would like to explore the world, what to do. So I started to play cocktail piano on cruise ships. And like that, I really traveled the world. I see so many places. So it was an amazing experience. And of course, as a cocktail pianist, it's not enough if you play classical music. So I thought, okay, I need to learn jazz. I love this music, so let's learn it. That's how I went to Paris in the EMAP. That's a very, very good school in Paris for jazz. And I studied there for 2 years. And right now I'm living in Marseille, in the south of France, in a beautiful city. And all these travels and fantastic experiences happened because in the kindergarten, my mother asked me if I want to play the piano.
And that is a great reason to start music lessons today, to travel
Exactly.
the world. And I love how you said, I was starting in kindergarten with my music lessons, but then because of those music lessons, these doors opened and you became, a performer, and then took your knowledge to the next level by starting to study jazz and travel the world. And I just always loved the stories of Nóra. And tell us now, the name of your business is Source of Music. Can you explore a little more about your business now, the Source of Music?
Yes, it's a new idea of mine. I didn't really think about music teaching as a business, but I joined your program, the UMTC Music Elite Educator program,
Yeah.
and it changed my way of thinking. And
Mhm.
I thought it's very important to find a name
Yes.
for my program.
Yes.
The source of music came from the idea that I'm not only teaching piano, I teach music theory.
Mhm.
It was there earlier also in my piano lessons. But during a piano lesson, there is no time to dive into the details.
Mhm.
So that's why I thought, yeah, my students, they just need music theory separated from the piano lessons. When they are not touching the keys, they don't want to play something. They don't want to create on the spot. They need to understand the structure,
Mhm.
understand the basics, the fundamentals, like bricks. And after that, from these bricks, they can build their own castle.
Yes.
And this is for their own joy.
Yes.
So that's why actually I joined your program. And now the source of music for me means it's not just instructions from outside, how do you need to hold your hand, the wrist has to be flexible, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a source that you can go back always. You learn the fundamentals, and after that you use them as you want.
Yes. Yes, it's so beautiful. I love the thought of giving your students the bricks to build their own castle. I love that. And so when you started, you sort of thought, well, there's no plan, no vision. And sometimes we are educators, but we don't think of ourselves as a business, right? What was maybe one obstacle or struggle that you were looking to overcome in your teaching business?
I didn't really see opportunities to learn something new when I was a music teacher before my cruise ship adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that I'm going to teach at a music school, and again, I will get the rules from outside. Somebody else will decide what I'm going to teach to whom.
Yes.
And I cannot really create a personalized lesson with the expectations of a system. So I was looking for something that allows me to create my own system, and yet it has a structure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was an answer to your question. It's
Yes.
it's so difficult to explain it exactly. It's easier to do.
Well, one of the things that I loved about what you said, Nóra, was that so often when we think about this, we are teachers. And often we become teachers almost by accident, right? We're passionate about music. We maybe play on a cruise ship, and then we think we need to help other people. But so often we teach without really having the knowledge of the structure, like how can I even grow my business? What is it? What could this possibly look like for me? What are the opportunities? What are the doors that can open? And by providing structure and by providing coaching, that can take us to the next level. And so if you don't mind sharing, Nóra, how did the UMTC Lead Educator program help you in growing your business?
The UMTC Elite Educator program changed my mindset. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the first and most important step.
Yeah.
Because before I joined the program, I was going with the flow, but not in a good sense. Not creating opportunities, just grabbing some opportunities, but not seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Elite Educator program, I learned that actually I can set up a goal for myself. Mm-hmm. And there are steps. And if I follow these steps, I will reach this goal. And after that, I can set up another goal. And it was a huge help, and it kind of opened my mind. And also I learned a lot about the practical side of teaching. It's not the musical information. Like it's not how to write a music sheet or how to analyze a piece of music. It's about how to act and how to make decisions as a music teacher in real life, like outside of the lesson, to provide an environment which is actually working.
So crucial. I want to say congratulations, Nóra, because you've completed the Ultimate Music Theory Certification course, and which is the teacher training in how to, what words to use and what elements you need to put in place to be an effective music theory teacher. What was your experience in completing your Ultimate Music Theory Certification portion of the program?
During the program, I learned one very important thing. Teach one thing at a time, one step at a time. I had the tendency to teach everything in one shot. And at the end of the lesson, my students were like, oh, thank you. Can I come back 1 month later? It was just too much. And during completing the program, first, I observed that, oh, come on, one lesson and only this information. maybe it's not enough. But after the second chapter, the third chapter, the fourth chapter, going back always at the beginning and reviewing everything what we learned from the beginning, it created a very solid knowledge. I knew these things already, but to go through it as a student, I experienced like, okay, so I don't need to be stressed at the end of the year before the exam, because I kept reviewing everything what we learned from the beginning of the school year. And I implement this since then, and it works very, very well.
Well, thank you. And it is interesting, isn't it, how sometimes when we learn something and then if we just keep learning without review, it can cause anxiety. It can cause stress for us as teachers too, because sometimes we feel like, oh, we have to keep teaching. And yet if we don't allow ourselves to just take a breath, okay, absorb what we have learned, got it, and then move on to the next lesson, and then a cumulative learning, right? Just review and breathe into that, because as musicians, and you've experienced this as a professional performer, you studied one genre and then you thought, you know what, maybe I'll do jazz and maybe I'll do classical, and so your learning has also taken those exact steps that you've taken as now you're a certified ultimate music theory teacher. So congratulations, that's a big accomplishment and a nice aha moment. So perhaps you could share with us, so what's coming up next for you in your business goals?
I made a very difficult and I think courageous decision. Until now, I had students through an agency. Well, like that, it complicated my administration. So now I decided to do my things on my own, and I stopped working with this agency. They were precise and it was really a pleasure to work with them because they just did the job. Yeah. But now I would like to take more control of my own music studio. Mm-hmm. So that's the next step. After that, I'm going to start my music theory club classes starting from September. And hopefully we will do it together with adults from all around the world. So it will be a kind of crossing countries and continents adventure. It's like the cruise ship.
You know, Nóra, I think you just named your adult program.
Oh, yeah.
Join the Music Theory cruise ship virtually. Travel around the world with all these, different countries, learning together as an adult community. Sometimes even when we say things out loud, it's what creates ideas for us. And I really want to say congratulations for, really taking ownership of being an entrepreneur. And running your own business is fun. It has challenges, it has learning curves, but at the end of the day, it makes us proud to say, I created this business, I'm loving my business, and I am empowered by how I can take my business to the next level. And you are greatly, greatly serving those international groups classes with adult music learners because they want that and they need that. And I'm so excited for where your music theory cruise ship is going to go. What is that going to look like for you, Nóra?
I think I will call the first ship Glory. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah, so we will start from the basics, and I'm planning to learn about some music history gossips about composers.
Yes.
And to listen to music carefully, because people can be surprised if they start to listen to certain details, the same piece of music that they heard 1,000 times already starts to be totally different, and they recognize the bass line or different instruments or the rhythm, the pulse, the history behind it, maybe the instruments not nowadays, but at the time when they were written. So these things I find them extremely interesting. And also these new information change different pathways in the brain. And I believe that every time when I learn something new, it impacts my way of thinking. So when I'm facing a problem, I will have more solutions to the same problem, and it's thanks to the things that I learned. In my case, is music, but it can be anything, any kind of art or sport, and we could continue.
Yes, that is so empowering to just know. And I so appreciate what you just said, Nóra, because it takes on a completely different dimension when you actually understand all the components of the listening, and you listen differently and you hear different things and you understand things at a deeper level. And I think it makes it more enjoyable. Even if you're thinking about dancing while you're listening to music, you finally find the one and you can come in on time, right? So it takes it to another level. It's just such a joy to hear. I'm getting ideas just listening to you. I want to join you on the cruise ship. Can I please get a ticket? I think you could have so much fun with that concept, right? Because there's so many things that we talk about structure. There's the structure of the cruise ship, right? There's the balance of the cruise ship. There's the dynamics of, the horn blowing. I think there's a whole program in there that it would be, and because you've experienced it, going into the adult lounge where you can just sit down and have conversations in your Facebook group called the cruise group or whatever you're going to call it. I just think that is a brilliant opportunity to also share your experiences as you traveled the world and, were introduced to different musicians, I'm sure, in your travels, and people that appreciated you as a performer and an elite educator. So, that's so exciting, Nóra. That's wonderful. So maybe let's share a little bit about as you're thinking about, how can you get students? What can you offer? How did the UMTC Lead Educator program, maybe what was your biggest takeaway in putting all that together?
My biggest takeaway in the Lead Educator program was actually, I need to say two things.
Yes.
One thing is it changed my way of teaching with recognizing the different learning styles, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning styles. At the moment, when I learned from the different styles, I implemented it and it works. It's amazing. I mean, I studied about the concept earlier. Yeah. During my university years, yes. During the psychology semester, yes. And yet I did not implement it. But thanks to your program, I started to see how can I use this knowledge in practice. And it was a huge, huge help. And my students are very happy. So now we are talking about it a lot. We found different way of practicing for each of them. So I need to take like double amount of notes during a lesson because they have their own exercises, their own mental exercises, and it's really very interesting.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yes, it was really it changed my way of teaching. That was a game changer for me during my teaching. And the second takeaway was what I already mentioned. It was my mindset. Because earlier I was really thinking about students, like I need to get more students because otherwise it just won't work and I need to do something else. But turning it over, it gives me a totally different perspective. What can I offer? How can I be a better teacher? And like that, building a community. And like that, building a music studio, which actually works. But not from one side, from both sides, a win-win situation. And thank you again for this. It was so nice to learn about these things. And that's why I will call the first ship Glory.
Okay. I'm on it. I already have the whole thing of, I can see it. It's, I just think it'll be so much fun. And I think when you come up with a concept, and so much of what we talk about in the Elite Educator program and in the coaching calls is brainstorming, right? We're there to have a tiny idea, and all of a sudden it just blossoms. And I just think I can already see your success story floating by, because there's so many cute little nuances that you can put into your branding when you talk about your cruise ship for adult learning, music theory. Want to hop on board, right? Like, there's so many little things that I think is going to be amazing. Well, I want to say thank you, Nóra. It's just been so much fun talking to you, as always. What would you say to someone who is perhaps thinking about taking this program to elevate, impact, and grow their expert business?
I would say go for this program, and you will learn a lot. Even if you think that, oh, come on, I already know that. I did even university in marketing, and I know how to do that. The Elite Educator program is human, and that's why I would recommend it.
Oh, thank you so much, Nóra. And I want to say that I always love when you dive into the coaching calls with us. And what's maybe your favorite thing about the coaching calls?
It's a difficult question. I don't know. We start with the weekly wins, and it's already giving a nice ambience. And in this ambience, we can do a little brainstorming. And again, you are talking about things, one thing or maximum three during one coaching call. And like that, even if I heard about it during the Elite Educator program, to hear it again, to think about it again, to hear different opinions from my colleagues again, it helps me so much to keep going, keep inspired, be motivated. Yeah, it's a huge help. Actually, I love our coaching calls. And even if in August it will be very late for me, but I'll join.
Well, I love having you in the community, and I love our community. I think it's so wonderful to have like-minded music teachers from around the world sharing their ideas and supporting each other. We're very much about PMA, positive mental attitude. And I want to say thank you so much, Nóra, for sharing your expert music teaching business with the world, because the world needs music, the world needs music teachers, and the world needs you. So thank you again, Nóra. And for those of you listening or watching today, if you would like to learn more about the Ultimate Music Theory Certification Elite Educator Program, you can simply go to joinumt.com for all the details, and we would love to connect with you. Until next time, thank you, Nóra.
Thank you, Glory.
Teach with passion. Bye now.